businesses across the world. In particular, accessing information. They don't have necessarily the capacity to find the information, as the information is often spread across different places, institutions, websites, often available in different languages, and often very detailed, complex to understand, to digest, and to really use. So small businesses in particular, they don't necessarily have all elements and the right tools to identify whether there is opportunities to trade cotton, and also to comply with the requirements and understand them. Based on that, 7 years ago, ITC was called by the WTO to build a solution to empower cotton stakeholders. The idea was very simple, is that let's look at information that exists, bring this information in one place, make this information easy to access, and also team up with other relevant stakeholders that are here to support also cotton producers and exporters. And also that's how ICAC came on board. So the three together looked at information available in our respective agencies, databases, repositories, and developed the Cotton Portal. ITC has a long-standing experience and expertise in collecting trade-related information and also disseminating trade-related information. It's been our mandate for since our creation, basically 60 years ago. So adapting it for cotton was something we know how to do. What was more difficult was to identify what is most relevant for cotton stakeholders, and then also make this information available and raise awareness about it, because we want to not only support businesses, but also our three kind of key beneficiaries, in particular policymakers, so to support the policy making and policy monitoring. As I said, I mean, businesses, including exporters, importers, but also producers, to identify opportunities, adapt to market requirements, and also trade support institutions, cotton associations in particular, but also other trade support institutions that might support somehow cotton stakeholders across the world by giving them a new source of information, a new source of trade intelligence that they can easily grab and use to support their respective members and stakeholders. So in 2017, at the WTO Ministerials in Buenos Aires, we are very pleased to launch this online platform together with WTO, but also with what we call the Cotton 4 Club, made of West African countries that really push for this also initiative, a multi-agency initiative that really aims at providing a central and unique entry point for cotton-related information, but also simplify the research of information. The website is available at www.cottonportal.org and brings three main types of information. First, it provides information on cotton statistics, building on up-to-date and comprehensive databases of ICAC and ITC, in particular providing information on area, yield, production, but also consumption, ending stocks. That's what comes from ICAC. In particular, they update this information regularly, so we can look at time series and trends over time. And we complement this information with ITC trade statistics, in particular our export potential assessment that I used earlier in the presentation, that provides also an overview of where is the potential to trade cotton by market and by products. So this is more like a policy kind of module to kind of assess the trends and adapt the policies, but also relevant for businesses who want to see where is the demand. To complement, we have a market information module that is mainly meant for businesses. This module is building on ITC trade and market analysis tools that are all fully available with a login system, but they are free, so anyone can register. And these databases will pull information on market access conditions, starting with customs duties and taxes for cotton-related products for any market. Looking also at regulatory requirements or non-tariff measures, as we call them, with a short summary of this information, but also linked to official documents. Also some details on the potential rules of origin, if any trade agreements for the cotton products that are traded, as well as voluntary standards and business contacts. So the idea of this market information module is really to provide the full spectrum of relevant information a business would need to export cotton products. He will need to understand if there is a demand through trade statistics for his product, to identify the market where it's best to sell its product and export its product. He will then need to understand what are the market conditions, if there is any custom duties imposed by the destination partner, if there is any taxes, what are the requirements in terms of labeling, quality, and so on to comply with and make sure you won't get stopped at the border, but also providing them with contact of potential partners, in particular buyers, so they can identify, comply, and connect to really, make the business happen. And finally, we have a learning corner that comes to support the users. We are here building a lot on WTO information, notably WTO background paper that is also available on WTO website in their cotton page. We have also the list of WTO development assistance, which is also very useful for policymaker to see where is currently the development going and get more information about those projects. We also bring relevant news and events that could be relevant for any user, and a learning center with relevant publications and some e-learning there. So the information that is provided focus on 15 cotton products at HS6 level. So HS is harmonized system. So it's very narrow in terms of focus, but the information is quite rich. And it looks at cotton, of course, as raw product, but also at cotton seeds, cotton linters, cotton oils, and cotton residues and waste. Now we would like to zoom into the cotton statistics that are mainly coming from ICAC, and I will give the floor to Matthew to explain us a little bit how they built those statistics.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Can you hear me? Just make sure you can hear me okay. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Matthew. So before we jump into the live demonstration, I just wanted to spend a few minutes on the cotton statistics production and consumption that the ICAC contributes to this portal. So the Secretariat of the ICAC collects historical data on cotton supply and use by country and formulate estimates and projections for the current season and the following season. The main statistics collected, as Matthew had mentioned, are harvested area, production, consumption, trade, and stocks. Yields are generally estimated by dividing production by harvested area. Next slide, please. So as a general rule, the Secretariat adopts official national data when they're accessible and seem to be accurate. Otherwise, the Secretariat relies on secondary sources of information, such as the private sector, news providers. Oftentimes, we'll look at USDA attaché reports or statistics published by FAO. So when there's a lag between the event and official reporting of estimates, the Secretariat temporarily relies on these secondary sources until the primary source of information is updated. The Secretariat always collects additional qualitative information to supplement the hard data and improve its understanding of the cotton. Next slide. So the sources used by the Secretariat may change over time, and continuous efforts are made to improve and expand the pool of information. So I just wanted to spend a minute or two on the variables and the units that we use in our statistics. Area is harvested area, so it's important to note that it's not planted area, but actual acres, hectares harvested. And that unit of measure is given in hectares. Yield is, as I'd mentioned in a previous slide, the units are kilograms per hectare, and it's calculated according to production divided by area times 1,000 to get that into kilograms per hectare. Production is, the units are metric tons. Next slide. Consumption is also metric tons, and ending stocks is calculated according to this equation here. It's basically supply minus demand, so it's production plus beginning stocks plus imports minus consumption plus exports, and then adding any stock adjustments is giving the ending stocks for the season. The ending stocks in the current season become the beginning stocks for the next season. Next slide. So adjustments and conversions of raw data collected by the Secretariat are often necessary before entering them into the ICAC database. So for example, data collected or data presented by national statistics agencies are often expressed in local units. So we'll have to convert those to metric tons or hectares. The Secretariat converts those and then enters them into the main database. Production data in some regions are published in seed cotton. This is common in a lot of African countries, some South American and Central Asian countries. And so with that, what we need to do is take the ginning outturn for that particular region or that particular country and multiply it by the seed cotton weight. Next slide. Supply and use data are often provided for local cotton seasons, which vary among countries. So this is another area where we'll have to do some conversions to get the data into the international cotton season. So for example, the cotton season runs from September to August in China, from October to September in India, and from April to March in Australia. So again, these data need to be, as best as possible, we need to try to convert those into the international cotton season, which runs from August to July. So the implication there is that we need to try to, if possible, obtain monthly data or make some adjustments to the data to try to get it in line with that August to July schedule as much as possible. It's not a perfect process, but we do try to align that the season. And then stocks, when available, often need to be adjusted according to, taking into account storage, cotton on hand by producers, ginners, spinners, and cotton in warehouses and transportation. So that's another area where we need to try to make a small adjustment if possible, is when considering stocks. Next slide. Okay. So that was the end of that. I think Matthew, I'll pass it back to Matthew. I think he'll go into a live presentation now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Matthew. And then let's now look indeed at the website and see how all this data is used and displayed. So I'll open internet browser. So this website is compatible with any internet browser. It's accessible at www.cottonportal.org, and it's available in English and French. To access the website, you don't need to log in straight. Most information is accessible without any login, and again, the login is available for free, so you can register unless you already have an account for ITC tools, but I'll come to that point. So when you open the website, you end up in this beautiful page with the different modules on top of the menu. You can see market information, WTO Corner, cotton statistics, news and events, and then the Learning Center. And then we have links to other relevant tools, such as the ITC market analysis tools, the EPING from WTO, and also the ICAC data dashboard. You also have a quick search for the market information where you can start entering your query. If you scroll a bit down, you can also access more information about the portal. If you're a first-time user, it's worth going through that, understand where we come from and what is provided in the platform. You can watch the short video that has been developed by then. And also you can have the top latest news that are being provided through the WTO notifications, in particular, or the WTO news. Let's start by looking at the cotton statistics, as Matthew kindly explained where those data comes from. Now let's look at what those data tells us. So by clicking on the cotton statistics, you will end up on the statistics page, which by default will show you one of the statistics, the area for the first country in the list. And then you can filter and select any country you are interested in. You can filter down, or you can just type the country. You can type Burkina Faso, for instance, select Burkina Faso, and then this will automatically update the chart, and you will then see the fluctuation of area that has just been explained. So in 1,000 hectares over time from 2000 actually, from 2023. And see the ups and downs. If you want to learn more, then you can easily click on the ICAC link and then go into their dashboard and then go further in the analysis. The beauty of the website is that it integrates, as you can see, and redirect when there is a need to go deeper. So keeping Burkina Faso, I can also then look at the yield, and then same, I will have access to the trends for the same period that will be provided, and we see that there is a slow decrease in this area with ups and downs over time. There is also information that is displayed as bar charts for the production, and we can have the value by just mousing over the different bars and see the exact volume in 1,000 tons per year or season, as explained. Consumption, still for Burkina Faso, slightly increasing. For this product, 520100, as it just goes, that's cotton. And then ending stock. So we have the different variables that were just showcased by Matthew that are provided by ICAC and that are nicely integrated automatically into the platform that one can search for any country. So if you are interested in looking for your own country, then you can go online and then have a look. Or if you are interested in getting more statistics, then you can be redirected to the ICAC website. So that's for the cotton statistics. Then, as I mentioned, we are combining this information for the same products with the ITC export potential. So one thing is the current state and looking back, what has been the trend. And another thing is that looking forward. So by integrating this export potential, we are trying to complement a little bit the research of someone looking at the website by telling where could be the potential of exporting cotton raw in the future. So what you see in the screen is the world map, each state being represented by a bubble that tells the size already of what is being exported by this country for this product. And you can look for a specific country or specific region. You can filter down and remove some regions if you want. Easily. You can mouse over then and see the exact potential that we are estimated. So for instance, for United States, there is an actual current export of 7 billion for this cotton product. And we are estimating an unrealized potential for the next 5 years of 2 more billions, which is not negligible. And then you can, from this point, you can then go deeper and see what are the markets with the highest potential for this product from the USA. And this will redirect you to the ITC export potential map, where you can continue your analysis. So I'm now looking at potential of cotton export from USA. I've seen that there is an untapped potential of $2 billion US. And I can see that the highest potential is with China, followed by Vietnam, so mainly Asian countries. And then further down, there is more like Latin American countries. So again, you have a snapshot in the cotton portal, and then you can go deeper into your analysis by being redirected to the relevant source of information. I can look now for India and do the same exercise, looking at how much is exported, how much is unexported, and then look for the different markets. So currently from India, there is a 1.7 billion and they can grow by 600 millions. Which market will that be best? Well, Turkey has a huge potential, it seems like, for Indian cotton product. So that's a little bit the module that we think will be relevant for government authorities or cotton stakeholders dealing with policies and also trying to do some projections and adapting also the local production and capacities. Could be worse also for businesses and trade support institutions that wants to also do some analysis of best markets for the products. What would be most relevant though for businesses, we believe, is our market information module. So from the menu, you can switch from cotton statistics to market information, or you can also access market information, as I showed earlier, from the homepage. For that, you will need to be logged in. So let me log out and show you. So when you first enter the website, this part will be restricted. So you need to click here. And then if you have ever created an account for an ITC market analysis tool, then you can use this account. If not, you can simply register. It's free. You just have to put your name, your email address, and a few information about who you are. And then it will be automatically created. And the beauty will be that you will then be able to navigate fully the cotton portal, but also have access to all ITC market analysis tool, in particular, the trade map tool that provides trade statistics for any products, any markets, with monthly data with a 3-month lag. So very, very fresh and up-to-date information. We have a tool on market access conditions. So if you look for market conditions for any product, any market, being tariffs, taxes, non-tariff measures, this will be there. And then we have a bunch of other tools on procurement, on investment. So feel free to navigate them freely whenever you have an account created. So I'm going to use my account to access the market information bit of the portal. So once logged in, then you can do a query. So I'm going to look at exporting from Burkina Faso. So I will select my country, Burkina Faso, from the quick search. And then I will select China as potential markets. And I will select my product. So we have a list of 15 cotton-related products. I'm going to pick cotton oil from the list, which is HS code 151229. So I can click it, or I can put a keyword and then select it from the drop-down list. So once I have my market, my reporting country, Burkina Faso, and my product, I can then submit my query, and then I will instantaneously retrieve the market information, pulling data from ITC databases, starting with market access information. So I would have a first block telling us what are the conditions in terms of tariffs to enter the Chinese market for my Burkina Faso cotton oil. There is currently a general tariff, most favored nation duties, that is applied at a rate of 10%. There is also a preferential tariff for least developed countries, LDCs, that is granted by China to Burkina Faso at a rate of 0%. So that's quite interesting to see. You can then click on the little globe that will then redirect you to market access map where this information comes from. So again, we provide a snapshot and redirect the users to more detailed information. And then I will see what is currently applied by this by China in terms of preferential tariffs. So there is indeed a 0%, and this falls under the preferential tariff scheme. And then I can see what are the details of this agreement. It's been in force since 2001. It's a non-reciprocal arrangement, unilateral from China. I can have a look at the agreement itself, but also on the chapters on rules of origin, which is very important to benefit from this preference. I can even upload the certificate of origin to export cotton oil to China. And then even start my export process. On this page, if there is any additional tariff-related conditions such as trade remedies, it will be in, as well as tariff quotas if any. But there is none for my selection. So back to the cotton portal, the trade agreements will also be displayed and then redirected to the same website. And if there is any additional taxes or price control measures, as we call them, they will also be displayed here. So there is a few. There is a custom inspection fee, for instance, or customs processing fee that might be applied by the General Administration of Quality, Supervision, Inspection, and Quarantine. You will have a short summary of this with a link to the regulation that is being enforced in China. So that's for the customs and taxes. So 10% at least, or you can benefit from 0% if you want to enter Chinese market. What is more and more important nowadays is to also look at the compulsory requirements or the so-called non-tariff measures that could really become a burden for many small businesses. The first burden is not to know about them. So by looking at the website, they will see that there are several requirements that are required by China. There's product-specific requirements in particular for this particular product. So you can look at those different requirements and open the list. You see there are quite few. For each of them, we'll have a summary of what this requirement is about. So there are a few label requirements, local exit and entry inspection requirements, and few others that are listed here. For each, you will have a summary of the requirements, so the name, and then you will have a link to the documents. You will also have further information for each type of requirements with a short summary and the country that is affected. So most requirements are imposed to any goods entering Chinese market. It might happen sometimes that there is some bilateral or regional also restrictions that are being imposed. So you have both legislation information and then requirements information. And then you have links to the legislations that are enforced. Sometimes the link is broken, unfortunately, but we also have the PDF, in theory, that should also be displayed. So that's for the market requirements bit of the platform. If there is any new regulations that have been notified by the WTO, we also list them through the IPING databases. So for instance, there are a few TBT and SPS that has been notified over the years, one in 2020, for instance. So you will have a short summary of these notified regulations that might have entered into force since then. And you will have a link to the notification itself that one can just have a look. Of course, it's been notified by China and the local documents is in Chinese. So really always trying to digest simplified information, summarize it into the platform, and then redirect to the most detailed source of information. We also have trade statistics in this tab, which could actually be moved to the trade statistics module. This comes from our trade map databases, and it will basically tell you what is the state of trade between China and Burkina Faso. Currently, there is not much exported from Burkina Faso for this product to China, even though China is a big importer. So there's room for additional imports from Burkina Faso. And then we have sometimes information available on voluntary standards. So voluntary standards in this particular scenario, there are none, but it will list any organic, fair trade or voluntary sustainability standards that might be relevant in the destination market, China, in this example, for this specific product. So in case our users is willing to export its products and maybe is willing to market whatever standards he might already have certified, then he can use this to show some differences with his competitors. In addition to market access information, that is the first step, we also provide information on business contacts. So we have a list to business directory that are available, but also we are pulling information from our own databases that is available in TradeMap, where we have at least 14 importing companies for this product in China. So one can click on this list and then they can see by category the name of the companies and further contact details for this company. And then the idea is really to accompany the users, potential exporters, from identifying the market to ensuring that they comply with the requirements or can pay for any fee. and then connecting them with potential buyers by giving them the website of the potential importers of their products, so cotton oil in China, as well as contact details when available and some information about the company. So in this case, we provide also the phone number. Sometimes we have the email address as well, and we provide the name of the general manager of this company, Lanzhou Great Source Trading Co. In this example. So we also have useful links for this particular research. So that's about the market information tab. So we have cotton statistics that maybe will be helpful for policymakers, but can also help future exporters and producers to maybe investigate ways worth trading. Then we have the market information to go over the different requirements that one will have to go if they want to export for their destination market. And then we complement also with WTO related information, starting with information and link to the WTO cotton webpage. That is also a very relevant source of information. We also provide direct link to WTO Secretariat background paper that are produced and updated every year, as well as the list of monitored cotton development assistance. So I encourage you to have a look at this list of relevant WTO websites and information sources under WTO Corner. Finally, we have news and events that are directly pulled by WTO News and WTO event databases, and we are also identifying relevant other sources, notably Africa Coton, that provide relevant news on cotton regularly that are listed in here. So you can have a redirect to this relevant source of information. This is the WTO website, Cotton News Archives, that will then link all relevant cotton-related information that happen at the WTO. Learning Center will be maybe the first or the last step of any users. The first one for those that have never used the website. So we will have a user guide into that, useful links and some relevant publications and training materials. So one can navigate this when first entering the website to build their skills before using the platform. For regular users, it's always good to have a look and complement their skills, or maybe get some refresher on training materials whenever there is a need. We have also listed the materials that are relevant from WTO, ITC, and ICAC. Also very relevant is to go deeper and then explore the additional market analysis tools that we are linking in the Cotton portal. So I'm gonna stop here the live demo. I hope it was useful. Let me go back to some additional and final slides before opening the floor. So we've seen where the data comes from, where the idea of this portal comes from as well, how to use it. I encourage you to do your own search. You see, you can even look at another scenario that I've listed in the slides. If you want to practice yourself, I encourage you to look for concrete examples for your own country, your own product as well. I also wanted to say that we are building on a broad set of databases that cover any product and any market. So should you be interested to also trade other products, or maybe to import some inputs for your products, boxes, for instance, or packages, or maybe also diversify and then also export other product and cotton-related products, I encourage you to also go to this related website, Global Trade Desk, that is very similar, but just have a broader coverage in terms of products. So you can search for any products for export and import to any markets. It's also a joint initiative with the WTO, single entry point for global trade intelligence. So just wanted to make reference to this additional and complementary source of information for those that want to go beyond a cotton product in the global market. So on this, I'd like to thank you. Thank you, WTO again, and ICAC also for sharing the podium with me today, Matthew in particular. And then we'll be happy to take any questions you might have on the platform, on the trade statistics.
Thank you very much, Mathieu and Matthew, for the comprehensive presentation and the wealth of information provided on cotton and cotton-related product. I think one of the most interesting feature is the fact that it is interesting and available both for producers and a range of stakeholders exporters, but also country members that might be interested in the wealth of information provided both in terms of production, but also in terms of trade. And I'm sure that many participants that are following us today via Zoom or in the room are particularly interested and have some question that they want to ask, and we'll be happy to exchange with you. So we will start the section, the Q&A section, when you will have the opportunity to ask your question and exchange with the presenters. So we'll kindly ask you, if you have question, to raise your hand. So we will provide you the opportunity both to ask the question and also to follow the queue, so that we will have a very detailed and organized and interesting exchange with all the presenters and all the information provided here. So please, if you have a question, just raise your hand via Zoom, and we will provide you the opportunity to raise your question and talk to Matthew and Macha. Mavid Pereira, you have the floor.
Thank you, Secretary. First of all, I'd like to congratulate ITC and ICSC for this really wonderful resource. It's amazing that it can be a single point where we could seek all kinds of information. What I wanted just clarity on a couple of things. One is that, can we share this this website widely to all our contacts? That's one of my questions. And the other was, I think at the end, Matthew, you mentioned about the fact that we can also look at other crops from this portal. Is this correct? I mean, could we go to, crops that are grown alongside cotton that our farmers might want to also be able to find markets for? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marvin, for your kind words. And yes, you can share this website with all your network. We actually would like you to share this website with all your networks as much as possible. So this, because I mean, we have quite a good coverage in terms of users across the world, but I mean, since it's a very few products that it covers, we don't have that many users. So raising awareness is very important to increase knowledge and awareness about it. So please do so, and let us know should you need any information to reach out to your members or clients or beneficiaries. The other website where you can look for similar information and even more detailed information for any products is called Global Trade Help Desk. And I put both link in our chat. So please feel free to check them first, but also then to share them with any, and we are happy to also organize dedicated webinars on any of those tools for your association, should it be relevant.
Thank you. Just to introduce myself, I work with IDH, which is a Dutch international organization working in many parts of Africa. And in terms of the C4 countries, we are active in Chad, but also in India and Brazil. Thank you for cotton.
Thank you, and nice meeting you, Marvin.
Thank you very much. Do not hesitate to also ask some other question. This is a great opportunity to exchange with Macha and Matthew. As it was said, it is a centralized system where you can have all the data available on cotton, but also Macha provided another website that is broader in terms of coverage. So please feel free to ask all the questions that you have, and we will be happy to answer it. Mathieu, I think you have a question in the Q&A section.
Yes, from Amagana, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, who wants to know how to ensure data quality requirements concern. So very good, and very often we got this question. So the portal is building on ITC and ICAC databases that have been there for some time, and that are quality checked by our respective teams in terms of quality, consistency, accuracy. And then there is like quality control and checks that are being done before any information are published on our respective websites and then put into the Cotton portal. What I would like to insist is that also our data are regularly updated. I mean, for both, I think we have like a bunch of people collecting information, but also statisticians involved in the quality test and processing of the information to avoid any misuse or misunderstanding of this information. If Matthew, you want to add anything on that, please do.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. No, it's a good question because it's a complicated problem, ensuring data quality and consistency. One of the things we do is, number one, we collect primary data, but we always go out and we collect secondary information and sometimes tertiary information to try to validate what's going on in an individual country in terms of production and consumption. So it's a moving target, and it's oftentimes very complicated depending on how robust the national statistics agencies are in various countries. But as Matthew said, we do regularly look at the data. We validate the primary data against secondary and tertiary information to make sure that it's as consistent as possible in terms of the story that we're getting out of an individual country. And then we make adjustments as necessary based on a complete balance sheet. So the ICAC runs a balance sheet from season to season across individual countries and across global production and consumption. So that balance sheet is a critical tool in ensuring that we have consistency across countries, but also across regions, and then globally as well. So great question. Thank you.
If I may, I thank you, Matthew. That, I mean, I think it's the case also for ICAC, but at IDC we work also, as you said, with primary data. I mean, we have a network of what we call data providers. Basically, it's local authorities now. So we work with customs authorities, statistical bodies at the country level that share available information, and we also have dedicated capacity building to institutions that do not necessarily have the capacity to collect and process their own statistics, to ensure that we also build capacity and sustain this in the long term, and then have access to this information.
Thank you very much, both Mathieu and Matthew, for the clear response provided to all these questions. I have a quick one related to the information provided also. How detailed are all the data that are within the Cotton portal, such as do you go till the HS6 digit code, or we just have information for HS4?
Thank you very much for your question. So in the Cotton portal, we stop at 6 digits of the harmonized system, HS6, because it's easier also and it's simpler to gather a set of information at this level. Otherwise, it becomes complex as each country is using its own product code beyond 6 digits, national tariff line codes. So to make information comparable and aggregate also information, so we stop at this level, which we believe is already detailed enough to do a market analysis. And then if you redirect to any of the information source, so trade map for trade statistics, or market access map for market access conditions, so link in the website, for any query, then you will have the possibility to go one step further and look at information at the national tariff line level. So let's say if you do a search in the Cotton portal, you will have the tariff information at HS6 level. If ever there is a different tariff at the national tariff line level, so beyond 6 digits, we will provide in the Cotton portal an average, and then we'll have a link to market access map so one can go and then see the specific tariff for each tariff line. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you very much. That was a very clear answer.
May I?
Sure,
Thank you,
definitely.
Bukar. Thank you, Matthew, for the great presentation. This is Lorena Ruiz from ICIC. So I've been using the ITC portal in general when it comes to trade for other products, of course. And one of the things that you do is you provide information on calendar years, meaning January to December. For the cotton industry, we provide information on crop years, starting on August and finishing in July. So I guess the portal provides this clarification for users when they want to compare, especially on trade, because area, production, meal use is, again, crop year information. So when you provide data on trade, you usually do on calendar years. Is that what I understand it, right? So is there any clarification for the users so they know the difference when they see different figures in your portal or our portal or the Cotton portal per se? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. So when we display the information on trade statistics in particular, so we don't, as you could see, we don't combine it with the ICAC data. And for ICAC, we put the seasons. So it's always 22, 23, 21, 22. And it's right, the trade statistics that we provide in the portal, in the market access information module, are calendar. So we will provide 23 information. So we display the year of this information. If we have growth, we also display the years that are considered. And then we have a link to the trade map tool that will go, again, one step further by providing a quarterly and monthly data. So here you will, be able to also adapt your search and look at the same kind of period should you wish to compare with the production or the consumption. But maybe it's worth considering maybe a further disclaimer on that.
I think I'm gonna raise another question that I may read for you, Matthew. As you probably know, in Mali country context, it is sometimes complicated to access good quality data through internet. So is it possible to browse through the platform on mobile devices, phone, tablets, etc.?
Thank you for your question. It should. I haven't tested it for some time, so please do so and send us feedback if needed. But it's used to be mobile compatible. Of course, providing detailed data on mobile phone is never easy. So the best is always to have like a dedicated mobile version or mobile app for it, which we don't have yet. If you want to suggest that, to your authorities or to the WTO, we'll be happy to look into that. But it really has to be thought from the beginning when you want to develop a very good system dedicated to mobile devices. So this one is a website for computers that is mobile compatible, meaning you will still be able to visualize it and use it, but it's not the primary objective of it. You might find it difficult when browsing some data, for instance, but you can search and use it, yes, through mobile. So just to say that the platform was developed and launched back in 2017. So technologies have also quite evolved since then. We are discussing with WTO and other members of the WTO on how we could possibly also revamp a little bit this platform with new, current technologies, make it even more smoother, maybe remove the login system also to make it even more open, and maybe bring some additional information into it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the answers provided and the wealth of information also through the cotton webinar and the great presentation. I'm sure that you might have some further questions, so please do not hesitate to contact directly both Mathieu and Matthew. I'm sure that they will be more than happy to respond to all the questions that you might have. Without further ado, let us conclude this webinar by giving to Mathieu and Matthew the opportunity to provide their final remark. And it was a pleasure to have you, all of you, connected and interested in the cotton webinar.
Thank you. No, I'll be super brief. Just to thank you again for the invitation to present and demo this website. It was a pleasure to be with you and to also get your questions and feedback. So thanks a lot for that, for this opportunity. Please do use it, do share the news, and do reach out to us should you have any question or want to talk further webinars or promotional activities. It will be with great pleasure. So a big thank you and all the best to all cotton stakeholders.
Yes, thank you as well. I'll just echo Matthew's sentiments. If you have any questions on the statistics and specifically, my email is attached to the presentation, which I think will be made available. Please do contact me directly. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, for the great presentation. And thank you to all the participants who joined us today. Thank you, ICAC, thank you, ITC, for the great collaboration with the WTO. And for all the participants, we will definitely make sure to send all the presentation and the recording as well of this webinar. So please bear with us, and we will provide it probably the next week, beginning of the next week. And you will have the opportunity to have the contact of both the presenters and also all the wealth of information that was presented today. So thank you very much. This is the end of our conversation today. Hope to see you soon for another events and some interesting also events on cotton in May and in both in June also as well. The World Cotton Day that will happen in October. And there we have also an event in June, the Aid for Trade Global Review, on which we will talk about cotton as well. So that was a pleasure to have you all, and thank you very much for your attention. See you.